No one in the restaurant noticed her at first. The guests were laughing, glasses clinking, soft music playing in the background. But everything changed the moment she stepped into the private dining room and saw the photograph on the wall. It was a picture of a little girl she recognized instantly. Because that girl was her. Alicia froze, the tray in her hands trembling slightly. The photo showed a smiling child standing in front of a small house, holding a worn stuffed bear. She remembered that day clearly, even though it had been nearly 20 years. It was taken just weeks before her life fell apart, before her mother passed away, before she entered the foster system and lost contact with almost everyone she once knew. Her heart pounded as questions rushed through her mind. Why was her childhood photo hanging in a millionaire's mansion? Who had put it there? Is everything all right? A calm voice asked. Alicia turned to see the owner of the house, a middle-aged man named Daniel Harper, watching her closely. He was known in the city as a self-made millionaire, respected but very private. I'm sorry, Alicia said softly, trying to steady her voice. That photo, where did you get it? Daniel followed her gaze and looked at the frame. For a moment, something in his expression changed. Surprise. Then something deeper, emotion he seemed to struggle to hide. Why do you ask? He said carefully. Alicia swallowed. Because, that's me. The room fell silent. Even the distant sound of laughter from the other guests seemed to fade. Daniel stared at her, searching her face as if trying to see the little girl from the photo in the woman standing before him, and slowly, realization began to dawn in his eyes. Daniel asked Alicia to sit down, and for the first time in her life, she found herself sitting across from a man whose house was larger than the entire street she had grown up on. But none of that mattered. All she could think about was the photograph. I've been looking for that girl for years, Daniel said quietly. Alicia frowned, confused. Looking for me? Why? Daniel leaned back, taking a deep breath as if preparing to open a door he had kept closed for a long time. 20 years ago, he began, I was not the man I am now. I was struggling, broke, and trying to rebuild my life after losing everything. One winter evening, I collapsed on a sidewalk from exhaustion and hunger. People walked past me, but one person stopped. Alicia listened, her heart beating faster. It was a little girl, Daniel continued. She couldn't have been more than 7 or 8. She gave me half of her sandwich and told me, you look like you need this more than me. Then she smiled and ran back to her mother. Alicia felt a chill run through her. A memory surfaced, faint but clear, her mother squeezing her hand and saying she had done a kind thing. That moment changed my life, Daniel said. It reminded me that kindness still existed. I got back on my feet. I worked harder than I ever had before. And when I finally succeeded, I never forgot that girl. He gestured toward the photo. I kept that picture to remind myself why I kept going. Alicia's eyes filled with tears she hadn't expected. All those years, she believed her childhood had disappeared without meaning. Yet here was proof that one small act had changed someone's entire life. But Daniel wasn't finished speaking. There's something else, he said gently. I didn't just want to thank you. I wanted to find you, because I made a promise to myself. If I ever saw that girl again, I would make sure she never had to struggle the way I did. Alicia sat in silence, overwhelmed by emotions she couldn't easily name. For years, she had worked double shifts, struggled to pay rent, and wondered if life would ever give her a break. Now she was hearing that a moment she barely remembered had shaped someone else's future, and possibly her own. Daniel stood and walked to a cabinet, returning with a small folder. Placed it gently on the table in front of her. I started a foundation 5 years ago, he explained. It helps young people who grew up in foster care get education, housing, and career opportunities. I always hoped I would find you and ask you to help me run it. Alicia looked up, stunned. Me. You understand those struggles better than anyone, Daniel said. And the world needs more people who know what kindness really means. Tears slipped down Alicia's cheeks, but this time they weren't only from pain. They were from the strange, beautiful realization that her life, with all its hardships, had led her to this moment. Weeks later, Alicia walked into the same mansion again, but not as a waitress. She came as a partner in a mission that would help thousands of children find hope, and every time she passed that framed photograph, she no longer saw a reminder of loss. She saw proof that even the smallest act of kindness can echo across decades, and come back in ways no one could ever imagine, because sometimes, the moment you think your story is broken, is actually the moment it begins to change forever.